Alright guys, we have a very special episode this week of Bonsai-U. We're here at Kusa Farms with Shannon Sawyer in Lenoir City near Knoxville, Tennessee. Shannon's going to be showing us what he does with Shohin Bonsai, Kusamono, and propagation. So super excited to show you his garden, show you what he does here, and give you some new tips and techniques for all of these different aspects of bonsai art. So without further ado, let's dive right into it.
All right, sounds good. So this is my personal collection of Shohin. Some of these things have taken quite a few years to develop and acquire, but a few of my favorites. I know this one actually is really not that great, but this is a dogwood actually that the cultivar was actually developed here in Knoxville from Beaver Creek Nursery, which you're familiar with, I think.
Oh yeah.
It's actually a variety of dogwood called Sunspear, and it was named after the Sunspear in Knoxville. But this was a seedling or cutting from the tree, and the nursery owner gave it to me, and I've just developed it from there. But it's progressing pretty nicely, and it's got nice small leaves, so it's got really nice potential for bonsai, I think, for a dogwood species of bonsai.
Right. Does it flower?
It has not flowered yet. This is probably the third year that I've had this from a cutting grown plant, and so I've just been working on kind of developing it. And
How tall was it before you cut it back?
well, it was a seedling, so I mean, like it's probably a foot tall. The trunk's probably doubled in size since then. But the nice thing about this variety, it actually has it's actually supposed to have better fall color, and the fall color is supposed to maintain longer. So I think this could be a really nice dogwood species for bonsai.
And that's the natural leaf size on it?
This is not the natural leaf size. This is actually this is what it has become in a pot.
Okay, so how much bigger was it before?
The leaf size probably about 2 inches.
Okay.
So about half.
And that's just maintaining it in the small pot has shrunk the leaf size down?
Exactly, yeah.
Are you doing anything different in terms of fertilization to keep the leaves down?
No, just the BioGold on these.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's probably one of my favorite ones. This is a persimmon. And it's actually already got fruit set for this year. But it's got a really nice bright orange fruit for a persimmon.
And this is a princess persimmon?
This is a princess persimmon. But this thing will be covered, in the fall, wintertime with fruit all over it. And it's really cool. And I don't have to have a male for this one. It just naturally does this every year.
So typically you would need a male and a female then to be able to produce fruit on these?
Correct. But this does this every year without a male.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's just a cultivar thing, or
it could be. This is actually a cultivar, a named cultivar of princess persimmon.
I know sometimes in Japan they'll graft one branch of a male onto a female or vice versa so that it's sort of self-propagating. Yeah. I wonder if that was the case with that one, or
I don't know. I don't know. It's just been one of my favorite in the gardens for several years, and this is another really cool one. It's an Oriental bittersweet, and it's loaded with flowers for fruit this year.
Is this an import from Japan as well?
This is an older import, yes. Yep.
So have you been propagating off of this as well?
Not this one yet. I've just been enjoying it, but this is probably a good one to propagate from. It seems like the leaf size and thing, and the nature of the leaf is really nice for bonsai. So maybe this will be a future propagation.
That persimmon we were just looking at, how do you propagate off of that? Do you have to do root cuttings off of something like that? Is that about the only way to do it?
Root cuttings is actually one of the preferred methods to do that, but to do that, I'd actually have to put that into a bigger pot and let the roots, just go wild in it, and I don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah. Can you propagate off the branching on a persimmon as well, or is it just too difficult?
I don't know. I've never tried.
Okay.
But maybe an experiment in the future could lead to that.
All right.
Yeah. This is another really cool. This is a Japanese privet.
Is this another import as well?
This is I'm not sure if this is import, but I'm assuming it is. I actually bought it from a guy here in the States. But this has kind of been one of my, early spring or later spring, early summer, really nice, flowering plants that I don't know, just has a nice feel to it.
I notice you're keeping all of your shohin in the proper size pot. Is that something that you consciously decided to do to keep the trees small, or you just like to keep them in the pots like that because they look nice, or a combination of the two?
Probably a combination of the two. Some things that I feel like that need to grow on, I actually will put into a Japanese training pot.
You're talking like terracotta
like
style
a terracotta
pot?
style pot. Like this is a Alex serrata, which to some people would have a nice base, nice structure developing on it. But I want it to have a bigger base, and I want to develop the branches a little bit more. So I put it into the pot, to grow pot, to let it, to grow out and expand, so I actually have more branches to play around with.
So do you prefer these terracotta pots over something like a pond basket or a colander?
Not necessarily. I've used both.
Okay, it's about 6 one, a half a dozen the other.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some stuff in pond baskets. I like the aeration it gives to the roots, but I do like the fact that the terracotta pots actually offer some stuff too. So it I like that it contains it a little bit.
Do they dry out as fast, I guess, as the pond baskets?
No, these will actually not dry out as fast as a pond basket. I feel like the pond basket will actually dry out a lot faster because of all the air hitting the roots.
Right.
So I don't know. I've experimented with both, but if I have a pond basket, I'd probably use it too. So I just, these are things I have laying around, so I've just used that with that.
Right. So you mentioned that that's a Japanese training pot. The terracotta pots that you can find like locally in the States, do they work just as well, or is there some benefit of using one versus the other?
They do. I feel like the Japanese terracotta pots are higher fired pots, so they don't, if you knock them or something, they don't crack as easy. I've had some of these that have fallen off the bench in a windstorm and still maintained intact, whereas I've had some American made or some terracotta pot that I bought here in the States that will just crack into 1,000 pieces. So I feel like they're a little bit more durable.
Yeah, I guess the other benefit too is the Japanese ones tend to have wire holes in them.
They do have wire holes,
so,
yes.
So you can tie them in a little bit more easily.
But you can drill wire holes in it too. So.
True.
So, but yeah, that's the other good thing about it, is the wire holes. This is another one of my little favorite guys. This is actually a rose that started out actually as a cutting here, and it's kind of unique. It's just it's not great, but I don't know. It just kind of reminds me that you can grow Shohin Bonsai yourself and still have something that looks really cool.
How many years from a cutting is that one?
This one's about 6 years old. Yeah.
How long was it in a plastic container before you shifted it over to a ceramic pot?
4.
Only 4 years.
4 to 5 years. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So from cutting to 6 years, this is what you get.
And with that, that's mostly a kind of a clip and grow type approach.
Grow. Yeah. And what I'll do on these roses, to maintain the shape, is actually some of these will actually get sheared into a shape, or like a real tight dome, and then let it grow from there, and then you can go in and actually pick out some branches from there to grow on. But yeah, these guys, here in about a month they'll be in full flower, so they'll be pretty cool. But I do like this one just because it came from here. Same thing with this guy too. This is another rose, little pink flowering variety, but this started out as a cutting here. And then this tree right here has got a little special meaning to me. It was actually a friend of mine who's passed away, Mike Blanton. we actually made a trade for it, but it's a, it's got an incredible base on it, and yeah, I think of him every time I see this tree. But he was a good friend of mine. This is another special tree of mine too. I really enjoy. This is the Asian jasmine we propagated earlier. It's an older tree that I was fortunate enough to be able to purchase from a friend of mine here in the States. And
I would imagine that's a very old tree to get a trunk like that on it.
yeah, it is. And actually, this is another one of my favorite ones too. It's another Asian jasmine, but it's a little triple trunk tree, and I don't know. I really like the Asian jasmine a lot.
That was a species we had quite a lot of at Fujikawa-san's nursery. I was never into it at the time, but I appreciate them more and more now.
So this is a cutting grown Asian jasmine.
This is one you did here?
This is one I did here.
How many years is that from a cutting?
So this one's about 4 to 5 years from a cutting. So as you can see, they trunk up very slow, but you can wire them and they maintain the shape, but they're very, very slow to trunk up.
Do you have to protect those in the winter from the frost?
They get protected in my cold frame.
Okay.
So they'll go in the cold frame.
But you don't have any extra heating in there, do you? Okay.
No.
So it's just staying a few degrees warmer in there than it is outside?
Really the main thing is protecting it from the wind. The wind will dry the plants out really quick. So as long as you protect them from the wind, plants can maintain or sustain the cold. But once you add the wind element to them, it dries them out so quick. And so protecting them from the wind. And then in our cold frame we have a fan in there, so if it gets to a certain point, the fan will kick on and throw some cold air in there to keep it at a nice temperature for the trees through the winter. I think that's kind of all my favorites. I like them all, but that's a few of my favorites.